Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap slash review of 90 Day Fiancé Season 5. Let's jump right in, you guys. I'm just going to kind of mix it up because I didn't put up a review last week because I got my hair did and I just didn't have the energy. And if you guys follow me on Snapchat, then you will know exactly why and what I've been doing and where I am and why I haven't been posting because, like, girl, I'm working 60 hours a week. But follow me on Snapchat to see what's going on with me. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to be talking about the episode 22 Wake Up Call. Let's start with some of the hot topics from Wake Up Call. Molly and Luis. The first thing we come back from is Molly and Luis. This is where Luis had his bachelorette party and he was supposed to come back by 10. He didn't show up. Molly calls him, is like, where are you? He's like, I am the man of this relationship. And then he goes back into Magic City with Jesse, who is Molly's brother, and they have a good time. The next morning, Molly is up and she's trying to get things ready for the wedding. She feels gypped because he actually said that he was going to be home around 10. He wanted her home around 10. That way they can wake up in the morning and get some wedding stuff done. He didn't come home till almost 3 in the morning and didn't wake up till almost 3 in the afternoon, and she is annoyed. And he's basically like, look, that's my day off. I wanted to celebrate it to the fullest. I'm gonna do what I need to do because I haven't had a day off since I moved here. It's just been all about you and these kids, and I'm tired. Soy cansado. The next scene with them is that Kingsley eating ice cream, I believe, and he's just hungover and tired, and Kingsley wastes her ice cream everywhere, and Molly's like, can you help me clean her up? And he's like, no, bruh, that's your kid, you do it. Like, you know, this is the day after my day off, I'm still tired. And she's like, you know, you're gonna have to get used to this. You're being immature. I don't want a man-child. You know, you're gonna have to help me with my kids. And he's just like, look, about that. So then we move on to David and Annie. So David and Annie, you know, their story just keeps getting deeper and deeper into a hole. I mean, God, I do live every single Sunday. Oh, I've done live for now. I think this was the 3rd Sunday in a row that I did live at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sorry for those of you who are on the East Coast, but it's the best way for me to, you know, talk about the subject with you guys, you know, during the time when it's happening. So just in case I don't get a video out, you guys get to see me and my opinion live on Sundays. Also, one of my subscribers, hey Kathy, I call her Kathy because that's what it looks like. I'm sure it's just Kathy. Hey Kathy, she actually started a Facebook page on Facebook, obviously if it's a Facebook page. Called Just Call Me Wah, and that's where we go in and we talk about 90 Day Fiancé and basically anything that's on my channel right now. I do have 3 questions up, so answer those 3 questions and you will be allowed into the group. If I can put a link down below, I will. Kathy set it up, so I'm like, girl, do whatever you need to do. Thank you so much for all the internet help because I am useless. I know what I know and that's it. David and Annie go to lunch with Chris and Nikki and they have a conversation about the night before with Antonio and the blow up and the fight, and Nikki calls David out, basically telling David that he has a drinking problem. Annie says, you have a drinking problem, can you promise not to drink until the wedding? He thinks about it and he thinks he could do it. He's gonna definitely try to do it because he doesn't think he has a drinking problem. Nikki is just basically saying, like, actions speak louder than words. We need you to get up, get out, and do something. You know what I'm saying? She needs you to sister act to that. And he's just like being defensive. Chris is sitting there trying to ride the line, supporting his wife and supporting his friends at the same time, and it just does not work. Nikki's like, oh, so you don't remember what happened last night, and also you didn't apologize to me when you woke up. And he said there was so much happening the next day that I didn't get a chance to. And she's like, no, if something like that happens, you apologize right away, and you didn't apologize. I don't know if you apologized to Chris, but you sure didn't apologize to me, and I want my apology. And then Chris tries to say something weird like, oh yeah, you know, you were being funny because you're a funny guy, you know, but in that moment it wasn't funny. And David's like, well, I just made this comment, so I don't understand why that was such a big deal. And Nikki's like, I thought you didn't remember what happened last night. So either you did remember or you didn't remember. Nikki then also says, look, if this happens again, if you're drinking and your attitude and your behavior becomes a problem again, we are kicking you out. We don't have any problem with Annie staying with us, but we are absolutely going to ask you to leave. Done. Period, point blank. And it's just like an awkward moment. Later on in their story, Nikki and Annie have a girls' night out. And let me tell you, these bees slayed. They looked so good. Nikki looked good, Annie looked good. I was feeling the entire situation. So they were having a conversation and Annie lets loose that Nikki and Chris are basically responsible for Annie for the next 10 years. And that's what Nikki did not know because Chris is their sponsor. So Nikki did not know that girl. She is very upset and annoyed that her husband kept that information from her, and she's now thinking about all the ramifications of what exactly that means for them to be responsible for Annie for the next 10 years, because David didn't have enough money to be able to sponsor her as his wife, so they had to get an extra sponsor. The same thing with Azan and Nicole. You know that story about Nicole's father being Azan's sponsor. And so basically they have a conversation the next day where Nikki is like, look, I did not know that we were responsible for you and Annie for 10 years. So I'm gonna need you to go on ahead and get up out of California, get to Kentucky, and get this ish started. You're gonna need to figure out your job situation. God forbid Annie gets pregnant, because then we are gonna be responsible. We are already giving you a car in Kentucky. We're already giving you a place to stay in Kentucky. I'm gonna need you to go now. I don't even know why you're here. And David's like, well, Chris told me to come. And Chris is like, whoa, don't put this on me. You said you wanted to come. And he's like, yeah, but you said, to show LA and to respite for a little bit before we go to Kentucky and get our lives started. And Nikki's like, I don't care what happened between you two. What I'm saying is, now that I understand that we are in charge, or we are sponsoring Annie for 10 years, I'm going to need you to go to Kentucky and get a job. I'm going to need you to get the ball rolling on all this stuff. No vacationing in LA. I don't even know why you came here. It doesn't make any sense. Go to Kentucky and get your shit together. And he's just like, okay. Oh my God, am I focused? Have I been not unfocused this entire time? Girl. When they finally get to the place, Annie is not okay with it. I don't know. It looks weird to me. It looks like it's a converted warehouse space or something. I have to go back and watch it and see what it is. But the space looks weird, and Annie is not impressed. And David is asking her a bunch of questions, and she says, quote, don't give me many questions. She's like, basically, leave me alone. Let me take this in. Stop asking me all these questions. Like, this is not what I expected. Let me just settle into what my life here is going to be like. Don't give me many questions. Done. And he's just like, okay. So anyways, that's the end of their story. They went back to Kentucky. Now we move on to Andre and Elizabeth. So wherein Andre acts like he could not care less about what Mr. Chuck has to say. Andre and Mr. Chuck, who's Elizabeth's dad, they go golfing. And so they get on the course, and of course Andre's gonna act like he's the big man on campus and he knows how to do stuff and it doesn't matter and blah, blah, blah. So Chuck is like, okay, this is how you play golf. You guys play golf in Moldova. He's like, I've seen it, but just never really been interested in it. I don't care about golf. So what is the point? You hit the ball, towards the hole. You hit it towards the hole. Mr. Chuck is like, look, this is my issue. You didn't ask me for my daughter's hand in marriage. It seems like it's going very, very quick. I don't know how traditions are in your country, but in this country, the guy asks the father's hand in marriage. Yeah, they do sometimes, not all the time. So let's just throw it out the window. It's not like it's the most diehard thing that needs to happen. It doesn't always happen. It only happens in situations where the fathers are cool and reach out to the sons. It turns out that Andre did try to reach out to the dad, and he would not have Skype phone calls with him. So when they did try to reach out and do all these things, Mr. Chuck was not interested. And so that's why he missed the opportunity to say yes and to have these conversations with Andre prior to Andre asking Elizabeth to get married, because he was being petty. He's being petty. He was probably mad that she found somebody in another country and he didn't want to deal with it, and he's being petty, and now his daughter's getting married. And then he tries to throw out some, situation of the difference between Libby and her sisters is that her sisters married rich men and you don't have anything, and, she's not going to be comfortable living in a 2-bedroom apartment having kids. How are you going to support that? First of all, if Libby loves Andre, she'll do what she needs to do to be with him. So I don't need Chuck to jump in and tell Andre what she would want, because she obviously knows Andre don't have no money. She obviously understands what she's getting into. And even if she doesn't right now, when the time comes, she will understand it. So it's really, really negative and unnecessary for him to be telling Andre all this stuff. And Andre is like, look, the guys that are with your other daughters, they're rich, yes, but they're in their 40s. And Mr. Chuck is like, yeah, one's almost 40, the other one's. He's like, yeah, so I'm 31. I got 10 years to get there. So I think I'm good. I think I'll get to the point in 10 years where I'll be able to take care of Libby and give her the life that she wants. And he's just like, well, since you didn't ask me for my hand in marriage, I'm not going to pay for anything. And Andre's just like, okay. You think Andre's gonna beg? Never in his life, not one moment. So it's not gonna happen. And I think that's the thing that everybody's getting it all messed up, is they think that Andre is gonna somehow relent and give in at some point. He's not. Libby is. And right now she's not prepared to, because it feels like her family isn't supporting her. And speaking of the family not supporting her, they go dress shopping, and while they're in there, they've decided, Andre and Elizabeth have decided to push the wedding up because of all the money situation and the family telling her and him that they're not gonna give her any money. They're just like, look, we need to get this party started as soon as possible. Andre needs to start the process of getting his green card and getting all the things that he needs so that he can work and he can support us. So we're just gonna go ahead and get married now, which was my suggestion. I'm glad they listened to me, and then have a bigger wedding later. So they go to get wedding dresses, and her sister and her mom are there. Her mom is a little bit more supportive and asks her, you know, are you sure? And she says yes, and then the sisters come in and they're just again asking all these questions about if she's sure or not. And she's like, I am sure. Please stop ruining this moment for me. This is the moment where I'm gonna get my wedding dress and I want you guys to support me and be there for me. And y'all aren't doing it, and it's really, really hurting my feelings. And she says that they're making it like it's all about them and not about her, and she just is sad that this is what's happening with her family. And I 100% agree with her. I think that she's absolutely validated in her feelings. Like, they just can't get over the fact that she's getting married, and then now she's getting married so quick, and that everything that's happening. And I need them to get over it and get on board. Okay, so the next thing we have is Azan and Nicole. I really just hate talking about them because they are so disgusting. Basically, Nicole tells Azan, look, if you would just talk to me, I wouldn't have to hit you. She doesn't apologize, really. She just basically says that it's Azan's fault for her attacking him and that he just needs to be a better person and show that he could be a better dad to May. And I think it's just all stupid, and I think that this green card isn't worth it, and I think that Azan needs to have some self-esteem, dump Nicole, and go back on the internet and find him another American girl. Then he talks to his aunt about it, and his aunt gives him the worst advice ever because she doesn't understand the scenario. She tells him to hold fast, to do what he needs to do, be a better person, and that it'll work out. And I'm just like, no, auntie, you're fly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to eat your food, and I think your head wraps give me life. I think she's great for allowing Nicole and May to stay there for 2 months. However, she's giving the wrong advice for Azan. David and Evelyn. So David and Evelyn again is boring. Evelyn's mom comes in to have a conversation with her and asks her to do laundry, and Evelyn's so lazy she don't want to do laundry with her mom. She act like, oh, if I have to. Not only she not want to cook, she don't want to fold clothes either. Girl. Okay, Evelyn. Then they start talking about sex, and then Evelyn reveals that David doesn't really like to talk about it, and the mom's like, no, y'all need to talk about it because that's important and it's natural and it's a part of marriage and you should talk about it. Evelyn then tries to talk to David about it, and David gets so upset that he like has to stop filming. It's like embarrassing. And it's like she doesn't even think she's asking him too much. She just wants to like kind of talk about it, and he just can't talk about it. He's like paralyzed. So me and Chris and a couple of us in the live chat thought like something might be happening with him like in his past, like maybe he like has been sexually abused or something like that, and it's just really uncomfortable having the conversation. And then if that's the case, we're all like worried for him and like, okay, if you don't want to talk about it, we get it. But if that's not the case, then we're just like, red flags, girl. Also, homegirl Michaela is back on the scene with a cute little haircut. They go lingerie shopping with Evelyn, and it's just kind of boring, and like, who cares about it, right? Evelyn looks like she's like a 1960s beatnik who's like 28 years old and with that damn turtleneck on, and it's just kind of like, and she like doesn't know about lingerie, and like, okay, who cares? Who cares, girl? Who cares? All right, so then we have Ika and Josh, and Ika and Josh are having the same boring conversation about Josh not being able to have kids and having the vasectomy, and Ika throws the most shade, and this is where I find Ika to be shady. She's like, oh, she's basically acting like Josh cut his manhood off. He didn't do that. He just doesn't want to have kids anymore, and she's like acting like it's the end of the world and he shouldn't have done that, and that's like against God or something. It's just like extra, and people were saying it's because she's from the Philippines, and so like they don't do that, and like it's manly to have children or whatever, and so the idea of a man making it so he couldn't have children is like is emasculating or something like that. And I was just like, okay, Ika, that's where I was like, Ika, come on, don't shame him for having a vasectomy. It seems like it was the responsible thing to do, if you ask me. Looking at Josh, it seems like it was the responsible thing to do. But she's a little judgy about it. I'm like, okay. You're bad. You picked the wrong person, girl. All right, so that's going to be the end of this episode right now, talking about that one, because I'm just going to go on to the next one, because I think this episode was kind of boring compared to the one I'm going to talk about next. All right, you guys, if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to consider becoming a Patreon patron, please click the link down below. Follow me on Snapchat as I put. Follow me in the group chat on Facebook. And, you know, let's keep the dialogue going. All right, so I'll be back with part 2. Actually, it's not even part 2. I'll be back with the next episode. And the next episode is called, I don't remember any of these episodes. Like, I just keep saying it. So the next episode is going to be called Breaking Point. And it is the breaking point for a lot of these couples, that's for sure. All right, remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.